a potential major victory for President Trump on immigration, and it could stop that controversial Latin American caravan right in its tracks. Fox News reporting that less than 2 hours ago, the White House came to an agreement with Mexico on how to deal with thousands of migrants heading north to the U.S. The largest caravan reportedly made up of more than 4,000 people. It's currently in Guatemala. Many claim to be refugees, but the president claims the group was infiltrated by criminals. According to the deal, Mexico is going to stop the migrants at its southern border. The United Nations will be there, and they're going to be sent to determine who really is a refugee and who is not. And if they have a legitimate claim, the UN will find them a host country that may or may not be the U.S. If they do not find that they are refugees, they will be sent home. But perhaps the biggest development concerns migrants who somehow get around the new rules and actually make it into the U.S., because according to the deal, those people will no longer be held indefinitely in crowded U.S. detention centers waiting for a judge to hear their case. Instead, they're going to be sent back to Mexico, and the Mexican government will determine what to do with them then. This all comes after the president shot out a furious round of tweets this morning, reading in part, quote, "I am watching the Democrat Party led because they want open borders and existing weak laws assault on our country by Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, whose leaders are doing little to stop this large flow of people, including many criminals, from entering Mexico to U.S. In addition to stopping all payments to these countries, which seem to have almost no control over their population, I must, in the strongest of terms, ask Mexico to stop this onslaught, and if unable to do so, I will call up the U.S. military and close our southern border." So how far does this go to fix our nation's broken immigration system? Joining me now, Florida Congressman and a member of the Judiciary Committee and House Freedom Caucus, it's Matt Gaetz. Welcome back to the show.
Good to be back with you in a new time.
That's right, baby. A little bit later and a little bit greater. Thank you. So the president has been busy on Twitter, and you have as well. You've gotten a lot of pushback for that tweet claiming that George Soros was paying Hondurans to get on a caravan.
I didn't make that claim. I posed that question, and the basis for that, Kennedy, is that Judicial Watch and other organizations have seen a fusion between some of the George Soros-based left-leaning political groups and some of the NGOs, and specifically the Balkans was an area of the world where there seemed to be strong evidence of that fusion. Here, President Trump undoubtedly got a win, but it's the drug cartels that really lose. They benefit greatly when you have a mass migration of people that makes it very difficult to ascertain who is legitimate, who is illegitimate, who is dangerous, and who may be safe. And I think that this is a real strengthening moment for the security of the region, and definitely a good demonstration of the president's negotiating skills.
Well, it's very interesting because a lot of people were worried how the NAFTA changes would affect our relationship with Mexico. Mexico was obviously the first to sign on before everyone pressured Canada into joining the Mean Girls Club. But now here we are, and I have to ask you, is the UN better equipped to deal with refugees than the U.S. government?
No, but it's a question of geography, and there's a choke point lower into Central America where we can ensure that we've got a more rapid and efficient determination regarding refugee status and asylum status. Look, if we have any sort of triage system before these people hit the U.S. border, it's a win because we'll be able to accurately determine their claims and then return them to their home country. And like you mentioned in your introduction, we don't want to be in a situation where we've got this large population of people from Central and South America who then make it into the United States and we can't get them home. So we've got to, I think, support the governments like the center-right government in Honduras who are trying to do more to have strong, secure borders. And if we can work with Mexico and Guatemala to ensure that we get a faster determination earlier in the process, all the safer for U.S. neighborhoods.
Well, it is an interesting process, and we will see what happens with some of these refugees and where they are placed. And if some on the left raise fewer red flags and warning cries over how these people are detained, because I can't imagine it's going to be that much different. And, you know, as someone in Congress, you have to breathe a sigh of relief because, to be completely honest, you and a lot of your colleagues have not been good stewards of our immigration policy in this country.
No, our immigration system is a complete mess. We don't prioritize the people we need. Instead, we're trying to do social engineering through immigration, and all of those criticisms are well-founded, and frankly, we're going to need some bipartisan solutions eventually. But you are correct to highlight this. The recent a negotiation by the Trump administration in Mexico make all of our other problems easier to solve. Because if you can stop these migrants in Guatemala or in southern Mexico and have a determination returning them to their home country or potentially grant them asylum in Mexico rather than the United States, you're right. Then the detention centers become less crowded. The court clog to be able to make legal determinations becomes a lot easier to solve. And then hopefully we're able to have humane treatment that also underscores the rule of law and the need for strong nations to have strong borders.
Well, when the U.S. economy is doing well, obviously immigration increases because people want to come here by and large to work and make money and, presumably take care of their families. There are a lot of businesses and agriculture certainly longing for seasonal employees. So how can you change the immigration policy to meet those demands with a tightening labor market?
By having a guest worker program that requires people to follow the rules, come to the country, and then return home when that seasonal employment opportunity no longer exists. We actually passed a guest worker program out of the House Judiciary Committee that was linked to the strongest border enforcement, that was linked to E-Verify, that stopped sanctuary cities. And I think that that's the type of approach we need. Unfortunately, we were not able to get enough moderate Republicans and Democrats to join us to get that bill over to the United States Senate. But absolutely, we need a guest worker program. But we can't just accept lawlessness, Kennedy. I mean, the left would say because we need cheap labor, we just need to raise the white flag in total submission to a lawless system. And that's not safe. It's also not beneficial to our economy.
All right, let's talk a little bit. Let's shift gears and talk about Rod Rosenstein. One of your colleagues, Mark Meadows, he is furious at Rosenstein because he has been thwarting you guys, and you have been reaching out to him, trying to get him to appear before two committees in the House, and he feels pretty emboldened right now, and he does not want to perjure himself, and he certainly doesn't want to testify under oath. What is Meadows prepared to do?
Well, I mean, this is unacceptable. The current plan, Kennedy, is to have Rosenstein come in and meet informally with the committee chairman and the ranking members with no transcript, with no testimony under oath. And I mean, my goodness, the former general counsel to the FBI told us that he believed the current Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, was serious about wearing a wire on the president to remove him from office. And we have not held a single hearing or asked Rod Rosenstein a single question under oath about this. It is low energy oversight. It is a dereliction of duty by the Congress. And Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan and I are going to do everything we can with colleagues like Andy Biggs and John Ratcliffe to bring some sense of transparency to this.
Why did you leave the House Freedom Caucus?
What's that?
Why did you leave the House Freedom Caucus?
I was never a member. I have a pretty standard policy. I don't accept membership in any group that would lower their standards to invite me.
Isn't that a Groucho Marx quote? It's pretty great.
It is. It is.
Well done.
No,
I don't mind that you
bastardized
bastardized it. This is all I'm going to say to you. Thanks for coming here tonight. Stay off Twitter unless it's to promote your appearance on the show.
Oh, stop, Kennedy. People love me on Twitter.
They do. They really do. You've got some big fans. They have choice words.
Some fans, some trolls. You know, it takes all types to have great discourse in this country.
It really does. And Howard Dean called me an idiot tonight. So.
Oh, I'm sure you'll cry yourself to sleep. You should get the warm bath and get the sharp blade out already.
You know what I need? I need the bathtub with a little door, and then I need to crawl inside and fill it with my own tears. Congressman Gates, thank you very much.
Thank you, Kennedy.
Yep.